Y'all, I have a really scary story that was DM to me. I think you're gonna love this one. The person who sent this to me wants to remain anonymous. They did tell me that this happened in a small town in Sweden, and it's the week of Halloween right now. It's super windy where I live. I'm also home alone, which makes this even creepier, but this is a good one. So me and my brother were going home. It was around 10 p.m. and it was pitch black. We had just jumped off the bus at our stop, and about 3 other people also went off at the same station. Me and my brother went in the same direction as one of the other people hopping off. Anyways, so this person going the same way was a guy that jumped on the same station as us and sat about 1 to 2 seats behind us on the bus. I saw his face and he looked very young, about 15 to 16 maybe. He walked a few meters before me and my brother, and he soon went further and further away. I did, however, notice he was constantly looking back at us, like a lot. He was pretty young, which was what we assumed after seeing him shortly. I thought he looked back because he was scared or just wondered who we were. I don't know. Anyway, so in order to get home, we have to walk about 1.5 kilometers. We went the same way as this guy and walked rather far behind him. He took a right turn into a dark alley, and we took the same right turn. As we turned, he started looking back at us again a few times. I noticed the way he was walking. It did not look normal, not in like a limping or hurt kind of way, but just unsettling. I don't know why, but here is where I started to get a weird feeling about this guy. He kept walking straight forward in the dark alley, and it seemed like he had slowed down his pace. My brother wanted to walk straight forward as well, but I said no, we're taking this left turn instead. Here I thought, if we walk left, he won't have to feel like he's being followed. But I also got an unsettling feeling about him, like we should not follow him anymore. We took a left and he headed straight forward towards the school. Just to give some background information about this area, so the school he walked into was about 100 meters further from the path me and my brother just turned left. In the school area, there is a path for walking, and next to it is a big soccer field. Surrounding the field is a lot of trees, like a narrow forest-looking alley. Next to the field and the trees is a road for cars. You can see the field from the road through the trees. So me and my brother were now walking on the road beside the field. I couldn't shake that weird feeling, so I looked toward the school to see if I could spot the guy anywhere. I thought maybe he was walking along the sidewalk next to the field, but I couldn't see him at all. It didn't make sense. The path was long and open. If he had kept walking, we'd definitely see him. I thought maybe he just sprinted off or turned off somewhere, but still weird. I decided to take one last look toward the school in the field. That's when I saw it. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught a shadow, a dark shape between the trees. At first, I thought I was just imagining things, but when I looked closer, my heart dropped. There was someone there. What we saw next actually scared the shit out of me. Between the tree trunks, I could make out a dark figure, then I realized it was him, the same boy from before. He was completely still and motionless. He had an extremely weird posture. He was hunched forward with his arms hanging loosely in front of his body like a puppet with its strings cut. He was just standing there staring into the field. I told my brother to stop to get a closer look. He still didn't move, didn't flinch. He just stood there hunched, his head slightly tilted down, arms dangling, staring into the darkness ahead. When he noticed us, he slowly turned his head toward us, and he stared. His body didn't move an inch, only his head twisting towards us. The way he stood, it didn't even look human anymore. His posture was wrong, like a zombie. I told my brother that we had to leave now. Also, if you want to get out of this field, you have to walk a lot further before being able to exit through a whole passage through the trees. You can see this hole and everyone knows about it, but this guy was so far, just standing in the corner of the field in the dark, completely alone, hunched with hanging arms, staring with no way to exit, just surrounded by trees and bushes. As we walked away, I got a really unsettling feeling, and as far as I could see, he kept staring in our direction as he continued to stay completely still in his weird position. When we finally got home, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Maybe he'd been scared that we were following him, which is why he kept looking back earlier, but that theory didn't make sense anymore. We were about the same age, but he'd seen us the whole bus ride. Why would he be afraid? And why would anyone walk alone into a pitch black field next to a forest just to stand there completely still, staring? Especially if he was scared. I don't know if he wanted to hurt us, but something was extremely off with him. The way he walked, kept staring back at us, and the way he stood staring at us in place that did not even make sense for him or anyone walking through that school. Whether he was possessed, insane, or just completely gone in the head, I don't know. But that image of him hunched and motionless in the dark, eyes locked on us, I'll never forget it. He looked like a corpse that had just remembered how to stand. Okay, and that is the end of the story. And I don't know about y'all, but whenever I was reading it, it felt like I was reading a book. Like, I could perfectly imagine what this person had written to me. Like, I feel like I was there. And that is so freaky. I know, like, over here in the United States, we have, like, Skiggly Wigglies. I'll put right here what I'm talking about, y'all. I don't know if they have that in other countries like Sweden. Like, I don't know what, like, the folklore or, like, the urban legends or, like, the monsters are over there. But that's, like, what it sounds like to me, is something like a Skiggly Wiggly. Either way, that is so terrifying, and I'm so glad that this person and their brother got home safe. And I'm probably never gonna go to Sweden after reading this story, because that is freaky. Let's read some more scary stories that were sent to us. These are both from the same person. There's gonna be a part 1 and a part 2. I was staying at my aunt's house when I was about 12 years old. She hadn't moved into the house long ago, and there was nothing particularly weird about it yet. One night, my cousin Louie and I were watching a paranormal TV show. We love them, and it made us want to go outside. It was around 9 o'clock and it was winter, so it was very dark. We went out into the garden, which, bear in mind, is quite large. It's especially long. At the end of the garden, they have motion detector lights and garden chairs set around a fire pit. We weren't anywhere near the end of the garden when the lights suddenly switched on. As they did, I saw what looked like a person sitting on one of the garden chairs. We initially assumed it must have just been their dog, Ezzy. As we got closer, I saw a weird, sort of distorted-looking shadow move across the fence, which Louie didn't see. Then, the figure was gone. We didn't think anything of it at the time, and we decided to go inside. As we went in, we called for the dog, but nothing followed. We just assumed she wanted to stay outside for a bit longer. However, as we entered the house, we saw Ezzy sitting on my uncle's lap. We went back outside to check. Nothing was there. We still haven't figured out what we saw that night. I'm not sure if I want to know, to be honest. It was definitely something, all right. Something creepy. And something I don't ever want to see. Okay, part 2. Bear in mind, my mom never believed in anything paranormal up until this point. My mom was driving down a road that runs right next to a cemetery and has a very sharp bend. At the time, she had my brother in the car. He was about 7, and me, I was about 1. She always used to drive down that road too fast. Every time she took the bend, she would think that she must stop doing that or she'd end up swerving off the road. So she wasn't paying attention and drove